Hello and welcome back to TVP World, coming to you live from Warsaw. My name is Alex Zelenskyy and these are the latest headlines in the world news. We've all seen the white smoke from the Vatican as the Catholic Church has a new leader. American-born Cardinal Robert Prevost has been elected the 267th pontiff. In a historic moment, Pope Leo XIV delivered his first address as Pope in front of tens of thousands of faithful. Speaking from the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, the newly elected head of the Catholic Church paid tribute to his predecessor and called for unity.
La pace sia con tutti voi.
Peace be with you. Dearest brothers and sisters, this was the first greeting of the risen Christ, the Good Shepherd, who gave his life for the flock of God. I, too, would like this greeting of peace to enter your hearts, to reach your families and all people, wherever they are, and all the peoples, and all the earth. Peace be with you.
Entrasse nel vostro cuore. Il mondo ha bisogno della sua luce.
The world needs his light. Humanity needs him like a bridge to reach God in his love. You help us to build bridges with dialogue and encounter, so we can all be one people, always in peace. Thank you, Pope Francis.
Grazie a Papa Francesco.
And now we turn to the Vatican, where our correspondent Alex Kadier is following the latest. Good morning, Alex. You were there the moment when that white smoke came out over the Sistine Chapel. What was it like?
Well, good morning. I had just actually come off air with TVP World and the roar from the crowd. Now, it was a little bit busier than what you can see behind me, but people are now coming in to pray. But you had this incredible noise, incredible roar from the crowd. You had giant screens all along this Via della Conciliazione, which leads up to St. Peter's Basilica, and that white smoke coming out from the chimney above the Sistine Chapel. And then as soon as we saw white smoke, people were running as quickly as they could to get to St. Peter's Basilica, to be part of that moment, to be there when the new Pope, Leo XIV, as we now know he is, was revealed to the world. Now, the moment that the Pope came out, there was a little bit of silence, a moment of reflection in the crowd to see, because many of them did not expect this cardinal to be Pope. I have to confess, I was reporting with TVP World just in the last few days. We were talking about Cardinal Tagle or Cardinal Parolin. We did not expect this cardinal to become Pope, and that goes to the famous expression, anybody who enters the conclave as Pope leaves as a cardinal. So clearly an unexpected choice, but one that continues in the legacy of Pope Francis, one seen as progressive, as reforming, as inclusive, and he said that in his opening remarks, but also importantly, experts saying that the choice of an American Pope is not a coincidence. The first pontiff in history seen as a potential moral and spiritual counterweight to the US President Donald Trump, who nevertheless said it was a great honor to have the first American pontiff at the head of the 1.4 billion Catholics in the world. But I have to say the atmosphere here was absolutely incredible. Where I'm standing now, you could not have been moving. It was packed out with people, flags from all over the world, some in floods of tears of joy for the decision of a new pontiff. It was a really moving moment to be a part of. Now people are coming here to pray, to reflect, and to see what direction the new Pope will set for the Catholic Church.
All right, it all does sound very exciting to be able to have been there. Alex Kadier, thank you very much. The election of the new Pope, Leo XIV, is making headlines around the world. Leaders and public figures are sending congratulations to former Cardinal Robert Prevost, the first American ever to ascend to the papacy. Polish President Andrzej Duda, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, and US President Donald Trump, French President Emmanuel Macron were among those who posted their best wishes for the new Pope on social media. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer highlighted the significance of the conclave selecting an American, saying the Holy See has a special role to play in bringing people and nations together. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni also offered her congratulations, along with several South American leaders. Asked about his reaction to the news of his younger brother, Cardinal Robert Prevost, being chosen as Pope Leo XIV, John Prevost said he could not be prouder. He also said that his brother always wanted to be a priest, and he expects that his brother will follow in the footsteps of the late Pope Francis as a voice for the disenfranchised and poor.
In his heart, in his very soul, he wanted to be a missionary. He didn't want the bishop, he didn't want the cardinal, but that's what he's asked to do, so that's what he did. He would have liked to go back to Peru and work with the missions because he had a deep feeling for the disenfranchised, for the poor, for those who were not listened to. And he had a very strong feeling, and I think in that way he will be a second Pope Francis. I think he'll follow right in his footsteps, working for the underprivileged. It's hard to put into words. I mean, how can one be more proud of someone who is not only the Pope, but the first American Pope, the first Pope from Chicago, and my brother?
Only a real and lasting ceasefire can mark the beginning of peace. This is what Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said after a call with U.S. President Donald Trump. Zelenskyy also stressed that American support is essential in making this possible.
The President and I discussed joint action, the support from the United States, which is so essential, and pressure on Russia, pressure in the name of peace. We discussed the situation on the front lines and diplomatic efforts. We talked about how to move forward, a real and lasting ceasefire, at least for 30 days. This could provide meaningful opportunities for diplomacy. Ukraine is ready for a complete ceasefire immediately, starting this very moment for 30 days of silence. A true ceasefire, no missile or drone attacks, no hundreds of assaults at the front.
And now we're moving to Russia, where the 80th anniversary parade commemorating the end of World War II has begun. This year's Victory Day events, which mark the defeat of Nazi Germany in 1945, are being conducted amid a heightened security threat. Thousands of troops are marching past the Kremlin, where they are being inspected by Vladimir Putin and other invited dignitaries. Putin had called for a 3-day ceasefire in the war while the country marks Victory Day. Ukraine has caused chaos for air travel in the Russian capital over the past few days with a series of drone attacks. In the recent past, the annual displays have been notable for the absence of military hardware, in large part due to the demands of Russia's war in Ukraine. Last year, the display featured just one tank, which was from the Second World War. However, Moscow has significantly ramped up its defense production, and spectators will likely see a show of Russia's most modern weapons. And on the latest episode of On the Record with Adam Jasser, former Polish President Aleksander Kwaśniewski commented on the idea of freezing the war in Ukraine, saying that a frozen war is absolutely okay for Putin.
Frozen war is absolutely okay for Putin because he will buy time for reorganization of the troops, to produce more equipment, etc. But for Ukraine, that is drama. Because they have a situation that they are in nowhere. They cannot be serious partner for the negotiation to the European Union. That's terrible. For Trump, it's okay because I promised that I finished the war, and now I ask for Nobel Prize.
Poland's Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski says either China or Turkey would be well placed to act as a mediator in the Ukraine conflict if the U.S. withdraws from the talks to end the war.
Of course, we wish success to the United States on mediation efforts, but if that track fails, there are other candidates. There is Turkey, which keeps channels of communication, and then there is, above all, the People's Republic of China, which uniquely has the means to force Putin to the negotiating table and to moderate his demands.
France and Poland will sign a major treaty that provides mutual security guarantees later on Friday. The two countries are looking to deepen their defense ties amid fears over Russian aggression and doubts about Washington's commitment to NATO. In March, Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk described the treaty as a turning point in terms of mutual safety guarantees. Speaking to Polish state news agency PAP at the time, the French ambassador to Warsaw, Etienne de Poncis, said the new treaty was set to significantly deepen ties between the two EU members. Poland will be the first non-bordering country with which France signed such a high-level agreement. The treaty will be signed in the French city of Nancy this afternoon. The Iranian-Russian Shahed drone, shot down by Ukraine and brought to the U.S. with the help of the Polish government, has been presented at the Capitol complex in Washington, D.C. The event was attended by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mike Johnson, and chargé d'affaires at the Polish Embassy, Bogdan Klich. The presentation was organized by an organization called United Against Nuclear Iran Organization. Speaking at the event, Klich said Iran, along with Russia, China, and North Korea, represent strategic threats to both America and Europe. Romania's national currency, the leu, fell to a record low, with the euro trading at 5.12 lei, up 0.45% from the previous rate. This is according to the latest data from the National Bank of Romania. The Romanian currency hit a historic low due to concerns about government collapse and its impact on the country's fiscal situation. The turmoil follows the resignation of Prime Minister Marcel Ciolacu and the victory of far-right leader George Simion in the first round of the presidential election, which was held after the country's constitutional court annulled the November vote, won by NATO critic Călin Georgescu over allegations of Russian interference. Polish Defense Minister Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz hosted his Croatian counterpart, Ivan Anušić, in Warsaw on Thursday for bilateral talks. The meeting focused on strengthening defense cooperation between the two countries.
Anušić was officially welcomed to the Polish capital with a military ceremony at the Ministry of Defense headquarters on Thursday morning. The two ministers had, however, already met while participating in a panel discussion at the Defense 24 Days conference on Tuesday, where they hinted at what their talks today might include.
We want to exchange experiences and systems used, like the American HIMARS or Turkish Bayraktars. Cooperation in this area is crucial because we have similar capabilities. Croatian soldiers are present in Poland and this presence will be stepped up. Thank you very much for this declaration. Sharing responsibility for the eastern flank of NATO, we have a similar sense of the threats coming from Russia, but also from its allies, of which unfortunately, as we see today in Moscow, there is no shortage of.
Anušić also underlined that Thursday's meeting was just the start of a much broader cooperation.
We solidified some matters in this meeting which are very important for our future, and they, of course, pertain to security and defence. In the coming 2 months, we expect the Polish Defence Minister and his delegation in Zagreb, Croatia, where we will sign letters of intent and begin a higher level of cooperation between Croatia and Poland.
Minister Kosiniak-Kamysz will visit Zagreb soon with an economic, infrastructure and military mission as Poland and Croatia implement a plan to strengthen cooperation between their arms industries.
Photos and videos from a rehearsal by Justyna Steczkowska, Poland's new hope for a Eurovision win, are generating buzz among fans of the annual contest. Her song Gaia is expected to advance past the semi-finals, which are set to take place May 13th in Switzerland. Online reaction to Steczkowska's performance has been overwhelmingly positive. Fans praised not only the song, but also the choreography and visual direction. The Polish star plays the violin on stage and at one point is lifted several meters into the air, creating a striking and memorable show. Eurovision, Europe's most popular song competition, has been held annually since 1956. Poland has taken part since 1994, but made it to the top 10 only 3 times. Hoping that, of course, this year will mark number 4. And that's a wrap for this edition of The World News, but do stay tuned to TVP World for more breaking news, updates, and commentary.